Social distancing. It's pretty funny. I'm a jokester. What's up, everyone? Hope you're having a great day. Today for me has been pretty good. I can't complain. Today was actually my sister's birthday. She turned 19, so happy birthday to my sister. It's a big number. Obviously, it's not as big as 18, but it's still a birthday, and every birthday is important no matter what age you're turning. So happy birthday to her. We just went out to eat, and then we came back and we played some video games. My sister loves playing Nintendo games. I got her an N64 for her birthday, and she loves it. Like, she's like, this is great. Like, N64 is so much fun. And I'm like, yeah, I know. It's not from my age, actually. It came out in 96, 2 years before I was born, but whatever. But I still played it when I was younger, so I decided to get her one. So she's really been enjoying it, and we played some of that and some of Wii tonight. But, yeah, I can't complain about today. Can't complain about anything this week. It's been a pretty good week. Waiting for the weekend so that I can sleep in, but, you know, it's just a personal issue. Anyway, so we are going to react to another SCP video. Now, I know you guys want me to do some other SCP videos, like SCP Explain, Story and Animation, and I'll get around to it, don't worry. I've just been busy catching up on the Rubber and trying to keep up with all the new videos that the Rubber posts, because I think the Rubber is a great channel, and I hope you guys think it's a great channel, because I really enjoy the Rubber, and I think it's good. I think all the SCPs they do is really informational and really accurate and pretty fun to watch. So today we'll be doing SCP-610, The Flesh That Hates, SCP animation featuring SCP animated Tales from the Foundation. So sounds like they got a feature in there, which sounds awesome. I'm really excited for this one. It looks scary as crap, if I'm going to be honest. I don't know how to feel about that. Looks scary. So, yeah. And tomorrow is October 1st, and I will be posting this tomorrow. So that means it is the start of official Halloween season, and I am not ready to be this scared. So if you guys are watching this, make sure you leave a like, hit a like button, and subscribe if you're not already subscribed, because I might cry. No, I won't cry, but make sure you subscribe at least. So I am very excited to do this. My book will be coming out soon, and you better subscribe for that too, because I need some readers. I have no one right now. So anyway, very excited. Let's dive into this. SCP-610, The Flesh That Hates. All right. 3, 2, 1, go. Go.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Oh, I'm scared.
As D2 spasms on the ground, his entire body being overtaken by the sickly tan flesh, almost entirely after 45 seconds.
Oh,
D2
gosh.
is terminated by a gunshot from D1, but that did not stop the spread of SCP-610. Hello everybody, I'm the Rubber. Today, we bring you SCP Foundation Keter-class object.
Okay, so it's Keter. Good to know. It's good to know.
First, let me introduce my buddy from SCP Animated, Tales from the Foundation.
Okay,
Hi,
so
everybody.
this is...
I'm Dr. K. SCP-610, also known as the Flesh That Hates, appears to be a contagious skin disease, with symptoms including rash, itching, and increased skin sensitivity.
I'm starting to
Within
itch.
3 hours, the disease will cause blemishes, resembling heavy scar tissue to form in the chest and arm areas.
Oh, God.
Within an additional hour, it will spread to the legs and back, and consuming the victim completely within 5 hours.
No,
Exposure
come
to higher
on.
temperatures will vastly decrease the time for the contagion to spread, and complete infections have been recorded occurring in as little as 5 minutes.
Holy crap.
Thanks, buddy. After the completion of the infection, the victim's life functions will cease for approximately 3 minutes. After that, they will restart at 2 to 3 times the activity rate of a normal human. Following this, the scar tissue on the victims will start to move and grow at a rapid rate.
So we're creating
Normal
zombies?
human features start to
We're creating
disappear at
zombies.
this point, and the path of mutation appears to be largely random. Victims observed in this stage have been recorded as growing 3 or more limbs like arms or legs. The head may become misshapen and elongate or widen out, and parts of the subject may split open from which additional branches of flesh will grow.
Good lord,
But the
that's
weird thing
gross.
is, not all subjects appear to progress to the same stage.
Wow.
There are 2 types of infected victims. One of them will cease moving and place itself in a location and roots itself like a plant. The fleshy growth on the victim will then begin to spread itself across all surrounding objects and consume
Interesting.
them. However, this type of infection does not infect living creatures. The other kind of infected victims will immediately seek out food as natural human impulse, resulting in unintended infection. And those who have lost their human form through the scar tissue phase will actively and aggressively attempt to infect anyone approaching them within an undefined area. If the infected has lost the ability of sight, a range of approximately 30 meters is considered safe. Initial reports of 610 came directly from the Russian government.
Of course it's in
after
Russia.
Reports
Always
consisted
Russia.
primarily of disappearances of farmers in the region,
Not the
followed
farmers.
by the local police, regional police, and a government dispatched agent all failed to report within a 72-hour period. A small military contingent was dispatched to the area and quickly withdrew, at which point the Foundation was contacted to investigate. The area SCP-610 affects are close to Lake Baikal in southern Siberia. Areas of known infection are marked on this map. Due to the vast area of infection 610 covers, containment is impossible. Isolation of the area has proved far more effective, and permission has been granted by the Russian government to establish a perimeter to keep people out of these areas.
So, okay, let me just get this straight. So basically this SCP-610 is not in a containment center, it's just basically isolated. Like, basically they've turned into these little areas into their own kind of sort of no-entry labs kind of thing. So, pretty interesting. I would not want to go there. It's all in Russia, thankfully. Or, so far it's all in Russia. I don't know the rest of the story, but hopefully it stays there. Let's keep going.
Any living thing coming in physical contact with an organism infected with 610 is considered expendable and is to be immediately terminated and incinerated. Anyone coming within 3 meters of 610 infected life is to immediately withdraw from the area, be isolated from the rest of their team, and subjected to medical examination and observation. Observation of life infected by SCP-610 by staff is impossible. Hence, observations could only be done by using artificial methods, such as remote robots.
To keep them safe, too. That makes sense.
The data returned from these observations, coupled with the openly aggressive nature of the infected to attempt to spread, SCP-610 has resulted in the Keter classification. However, so long as nothing is allowed to enter or leave the infected areas, it is considered a neutralized threat. But after the cavernous areas beneath the infected settlements were discovered during the exploration, the Foundation sent in research personnel for further investigation.
That's
there was
gross
a total
looking.
of 5 field exploration logs for both the remote robot and also the human expeditions. The first exploration was done by a small camera-mounted unit known as Herbie.
Herbie the love
was
that's
dispatched
Kirby,
at a
Herbie
safe
or Kirby the
distance
love bug. I
and
can't remember.
directed toward a part of an infected small village, hereafter referred to as Site A. Many of the homes appeared to have suffered fire damage, but a fair amount of buildings are still intact. Through the camera feed, it seems that an estimated population of 79 were infected. Immobile infected are included in this number. However, it is difficult to ascertain an exact percentage of mobile versus immobile. After observing the exterior of the village for 2 hours, Herbie was directed to follow an infected known as Alpha as it entered a home.
Dang.
The home contains multiple visible infected organisms,
Oof.
and Herbie's
They're
camera was
everywhere.
raised slowly as to not draw attention. Alpha walks around its home multiple times before stopping at another infected, hereafter known as Beta, sitting on a bed. Beta is unable to leave the bed for unknown reasons, but is not completely immobile, as it flails its arms in response to the beatings delivered by Alpha.
So they just beat each other
Moments
up like,
later, a piercing sound explodes from the area around Beta,
Holy crap.
who then proceeds to project a cloud of unknown matter into the air from its chest cavity. Alpha lingers in the cloud as it floats in the air around them,
Alpha's just
slowly
like, whatever.
descending to the ground.
This
The
is
unknown
weird.
life form on the table aside Beta begins to twitch in an apparent seizure, and Alpha then laps the room twice more, stopping at each infected organism, but now ignoring Beta. Then Alpha seats itself at the table, reaches out for 3
That's
plates
gross.
and set it on the table.
Is it gonna eat?
After the plates are positioned, the facial tendrils extending from Alpha wiggle up and start to coil on each plate.
Oh, this is
before
weird.
tearing apart and separating.
Too weird.
Alpha then leaves the house. Several minutes later, a group of 6 to 7 infected enter the home. These infected all surround the table.
They're gonna eat it.
And each takes turn consuming the flesh substance left behind by Alpha, pressing it into whatever orifices on their bodies. Some under their arms,
Oh my
some into
goodness.
mouths, some into the chest, some behind their backs.
Ugh.
Herbie
That is
remains
weird.
here for several more minutes before retracting its camera and leaving. Herbie is then directed to explore a store. Here he finds more infected individuals. A Russian soldier who doesn't seem to be moving, but his eyes are in constant movement, often focusing on Herbie. In a storage area, a large pile of bodies are stacked together. Some pieces of clothing are visible and appear to contain both military garb and everyday clothing. Atop the bodies, an infected sits, appearing to have its lower parts fused to the pile, and with its upper half in a wild state of flailing and seizure. Approximately every 10 seconds, a burst of spores flies out the top of this infected, which linger in the air.
Oh gosh, this is gross.
Herbie then leaves the store and passes by the village well, surrounding which are a series of immobile infected, all facing the well. The arms of each of these infected individuals are stretched out, one in contact with the next.
What are they trying to do?
forming
Summon
a perfect
something?
chain. Suddenly, an infected young girl grabs and stares at Herbie. Its face balloons inside and explodes outward into a series of fleshy flaps that grip Herbie and draw it inside of her. Herbie's video feed terminates here. 5 hours later, Herbie's video feed resumed. Herbie's camera pointed at the village well with a slimy film
It's all
which
gone.
often
All the bodies
oozes
are gone.
across the lens. Herbie does not respond to any remote command, but its video jerks back and forth from target to target, zooming in and out of its own accord. Video feed is cut manually, and all connections to Herbie's unit are ordered erased. The second exploration on SCP-610 happened during construction of the perimeter surrounding SCP-610's containment area.
Who goes there to construct
personnel
things?
were infected. Most of these infected personnel were immediately destroyed with flamethrowers, but a small collection of infected were contained in cold storage units to prolong the progression of infection. In hopes of finding out more information on the origin point of 610, the Foundation sent 3 infected personnel.
All right, I just want to talk about this real quick. This is probably the scariest SCP, and I'll tell you why it's the scariest SCP, because it can infect anyone, and if it got out of these containment areas, it'd be terrible. It'd be terrible for anyone that is in range of someone that's infected, because anyone could get infected, anyone could die horribly and just turn into these monsters. Whew, this is a weird one. A little spooky? Yes. Entertaining? Yeah, definitely. Let's keep going.
D1, D2, and D3 into Site C with a single video system. Site C is in the same infected village with the Site A mentioned earlier, but different spot. The 3 infected personnel were given 9mm pistols, gasoline, emergency flares, and some food.
Sounds safe.
They were also instructed to observe and avoid interaction with the infected villagers. But if they're attacked by the infected villagers, they're allowed to do as much damage to the site as possible while maintaining video feed. As D1, D2, and D3 enter the site, there is a noticeable rise in the temperature, which requires a further shedding of garments. One of them immediately noticed a large number of immobile pylons arrayed around the site, separated by an apparent distance of 5 to 6
Social
meters.
distancing.
Each pylon appears to be 2 to 4 infected persons,
Pretty funny.
fused together in one spot.
I'm a jokester.
Heat vents out of these pylons, and current belief is that this is an advanced stage of SCP-610, terraforming its environment to facilitate spread of itself.
Interesting.
D2 begins to seizure after only a few minutes in Site C.
Oh, no, not D2.
The progression
Come on,
to the
D2.
scar tissue phase of 610 infection is observed in full course. As D2 spasms on the ground, his entire body being overtaken by the sickly tan flesh, almost entirely after 45 seconds. D2 is terminated by a gunshot from D1.
Oh.
But that did not stop the spread of 610. The spread continues even after death of the body, until all movement ceases. As perimeter control is relaying new instructions to D1
So
and
many
D3,
questions about how they
video feed
keep that
shows
away.
a
I don't know.
flesh-like growth splitting open beneath D2's body, and a series of ropey tendrils coming from within the gap to pull his corpse
Bruh.
inside. This opening closes quickly. Total time elapsed 3 seconds.
Wow.
D1 and D3 quickly proceed to the village center and encounter a sphere suspended by angled supports, comprised of both infected humans and a few specimens of non-human
Is that
life
the
forms
life
such
log?
as deer and bears. The entire sphere of flesh pulses at roughly a 5-second interval, and with each pulse emits a ring of spore-like material from its equator. This material floats to the ground and appears to be absorbed into the converted environment.
Jeez, that is such a horrible
D3
looking
begins
thing.
to douse the sphere with the provided gasoline, and a lit emergency flare is applied to it, which immediately goes up in flames.
Nice.
The The remote feed plays back an explosive and creature roaring noise from an unknown location that seems to come from a location far outside of Site C, but was reported as being heard even at perimeter control by both Sites C and A. Within 15 seconds following the sound's dissipation, Site A reported that a series of explosions had occurred within the village. 5 seconds after this report, the spherical mass in the middle of Site C explodes, and both D1 and D3 are thrown by the blast. D3 dies instantly, but D1 manages to stand back up. D1's video equipment falls to the ground and was recording in a skyward direction. The last moments of footage from D1's video unit display a humanoid figure unknown creature, steps upon the recording video equipment and destroys it. Perimeter control remained on high alert for a full 24 hours at all locations without any incident following this event. The destruction caused by the second exploration resulted in a series of unexpected events in Site A. That being said, there's still more to add to the story that indicates the danger and horror of SCP-610. But we will explore the rest of it in part 2.
There's going to be a part 2.
So, stay tuned.
Let's go. That was a good one.
Before we end this video, we are proud to present these incredibly sweet pieces of fan art. A big thank you to all of you.
A lot of different questions.
You can now send us your fan art, and we will be more than happy to show off your best art piece in our next video. Check out our description below on how to submit. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Which SCP do you want to see in the next video, and why it is interesting? Let us know in the comment below.
I want to see part 2.
We will draw your story and share it with the world. Don't forget to click like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell. Please share it to your friends if you like this video. Thank you so much for watching.
Good video.
And we will see you in the next video.
All right, that was very interesting SCP. That was terrifying, and it was such a good story. I was so lost in that story, and I just was like, what is going on? So yeah, there's so many questions. First, like, I guess he had different sites, but like, that stuff can get out pretty easily. Like, that's pretty scary that it can get out pretty easily. And I'm afraid to see part 2 because I feel like it did get out. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe the coronavirus is SCP-610. I probably not. But anyway, that was such a good SCP story. I'm so excited for part 2. I don't want to ruin it too much because I haven't seen. Obviously, I don't know the full story, but so far so good. It definitely kept me on my toes. Hope it kept you on your toes too. Perfect video for the first day of Halloween season. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go. So I can't wait for part 2. If you like part 2, make sure you hit a like on this video and go hit the Rubbers video. That's a great video as well. Go give them a like and follow them if you aren't already following them. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace.